You know it's all about
So, well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this. Right now, I just feel like they're in the negative.
Right. Jackson in the chat was asking about who was the big signing. That will be Saturday. Tony had just talked about it on Twitter. We had kind of discussed that earlier, but he will announce what the big signing is Saturday at Full Gear. Like I said, my speculation is that it's Will Ospreay. I mean, I can't think of who else it would be. Somebody else in the chat earlier had said it could possibly be Sami Callihan, since Sami Callihan is in California and he is reuniting with Jon Moxley at an independent show. So that may just be a given. But I don't know. I have no idea who it is.
I outlandishly said Enzo Amari because of teaming up with Big Bill, you know. So
we said that would be the somewhat underwhelming choice, but
real quick though, I will say this. The one thing I like about this is we have no clue. Like back when they signed like a Christian Cage or, you know, even when Paul White and Mark Henry signed, there was like those rumblings, but it wasn't a for sure thing. I think the one that was the most secret out of those two was Mark Henry. Like we kind of had the feeling of a Paul White, but Mark Henry was like the day of Double or Nothing that he showed up, and that was the same show that I was talking about. Leo Rush came on. So that's what I like about this, and I hope it stays like this. I hope nothing comes out before we get that appearance on Saturday. I hope it's a big surprise. Big surprise. This is why I want to go back to. This is why I want to go back to the days where stuff doesn't get leaked.
I think I kind of just think AEW is better at that, just because I don't think they have so many people in their ranks, I guess, that could possibly be talking or anything like that. WWE, it's like they're obviously they're the bigger company, and it's harder to keep stuff with a lid on it. It's very difficult because so many more eyes are watching them, and so many more people are keeping their ears glued to dirt sheets and everything like that. So it's very difficult. With AEW, I think it's easier because they're like I said, they're a private company and they're smaller, and they can just kind of keep those surprises. But next we had a Samoa Joe squash match. It is, like I said again, I'm not crazy about squash matches at all. I mean, they're really just enhancement matches for the said squasher to look good in. So obviously, Samoa Joe did his thing. He looked good. Still Samoa Joe, obviously, after all these years. The one thing that legitimately made me laugh out loud was when the chopper goes to the top rope, goes for a crossbody. Joe just walks away, and in midair, he's just like what the heck? Like what was that? That was hilarious. That was the most hilarious part of that match. That literally made me laugh out loud. But I gave this match a 1.5 out of 5. It was not much. You blink and you miss it. But it was entertaining just for that one spot though. But Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing is that's like a signature Samoa Joe thing. He's been doing that for years now. I mean, he's been doing that since his TNA days.
Yeah.
He's done it against the likes of AJ Styles, Kurt Angle. Like, he's done it against some big people. Yeah. And now just to see him doing it even in like the squash matches, like it's pretty much one of those we got to get our shit in type of deal. And this is part of my shit. So, there is one thing that I kind of want to go, and I agree with you. 1.5 for this match. It's a squash. It's done. We knew Samoa Joe was going to win. There was no way whatsoever that John Cruz, I believe his name was going to win this match.
Right.
One thing off topic though. that Miro promo before this match,
Ooh,
fucking fire, dude. Like,
yeah.
Miro got me pumped. Like, Miro has never been able to do that for me. Not when he was Rusev in WWE, not even when he came in as, the video game guy when he first came into AEW. Like, this was the first time ever that Miro got me pumped. Like, if you look at the landscape right now on that roster and the guys that we see kind of off to the side, but kind of shadowing into the spotlight, Miro, Hobbs, Lance Archer, Wardlow. Like, I've said it a couple weeks ago, and I've said it the past couple weeks basically, that AEW is not a big guy company. They are starting to do it. They're starting to highlight the big guys a little bit. And I'm kind of liking it. Like, I understand AEW with being a smaller guy, high flying spot fest type of company, it's exciting. But give me some big guy stuff, man. Like, get the big guys going. Like, and if you're considering like a Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho big guy, then there's something wrong. Like, no, I want to see these muscle bound meathead dudes fucking doing something. Miro, Wardlow, Hobbs, like I want to see these guys up there. Lance Archer, like highlight them for me, please. And that Miro promo got me pumped.
Yeah.
Oh man, sorry.
So it's crazy because I think he's somebody. I think Miro is somebody who's underrated. When we talk about just everything we've talked about on this show, I don't talk about Miro enough, but that's somebody that definitely going into 2024, I want to see more of on Dynamite for sure.
I do want to say, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I do want to say one thing. They are doing the right thing that WWE couldn't do with him against CJ. Like, yeah, they had CJ with Bobby Lashley. I'm sorry, that storyline was so freaking cringe, man. Like, that just made me like, come on, we know they're married in real life.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of like we know they're married in real life now still, but AEW is doing it right.
Absolutely.
Bottom line, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but they are doing it right.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, no, like I said, again, he's somebody who's underrated on this show because I don't talk about him enough. But the guy legitimately has reinvented himself 2-3 times over now in AEW, and each iteration, each version of him has just been that much better than anything he did in WWE. His initial run in WWE was great. He was the Destroyer and the Bulgarian Brute. And that was great and all, but once that was kind of over, and once that kind of faded, they really didn't have much for him after that. They really didn't. The Rusev Day thing got over organically, and it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
And they just never really, that was the opportunity for them to really take him seriously and go somewhere with him, and they just didn't. And AEW, it's like they're really highlighting him and just letting him just go. I don't know about you, but I think you're looking at a future AEW international champion because I think he'd be a great international champion for sure.
I agree. The last time I was ever excited about anything that Miro did was in 2014. It's a long time ago. 2014. I seen Miro back when he was Rusev. He made his WWE house show debut at a house show in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is an hour away from my house. And I went to that show. And it was a squash. Like, he won the match in like 30 seconds. And then he debuted on the Rumble the next night because the Royal Rumble was in Philly. And we all know how Philly's Rumble ended. But, oh, dude, like, that was the last time I was excited because what happened was we got a promo from him on the screen, the big screen. And then a match or two later, we ended up getting his match. And John, who everybody knows, John was a co-host on the Table Spot. He's my co-host on Rivet City Red Zone every Sunday. Me and him went together, and we both looked at each other like, "Who the F is this?" And that was the last time I was excited. So we're 9 years removed. January would have been 10 years. 10 years. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's insane. But yeah, like I said, hopefully there's some big thing. They definitely need to get a title on that guy, and I think he would be a perfect AEW international champion. And just let him dominate. Let him dominate like he did when he was TNT champion.
Now my question would be is if they were to put the international championship on him, does he surpass Orange Cassidy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Let him be the longest reigning AEW international champion.
I couldn't disagree with that.
Let him dominate.
If he
Reignite the feud with him and Hobbs, and this time let it be over the international championship.
if they were to keep the momentum that I got off of that feeling tonight, if that momentum sticks, then I can highly agree with it. But if they do what they did to him in his first initial run in AEW, you know, the whole gaming guy and then turned into the TNT champion and then just died off. If they do that, then no.
No,
But
yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
as far as longer than Orange Cassidy, keep this momentum going and you'll have a believer in me.
Absolutely.
You'll have a believer in the Redeemer in me.
I like it. I like it. We had the Bucks and going against Penta and Commander in this match. I really didn't care for this match. But you know, the one question I had to ask was, will the Bucks lose in their hometown? Probably not. And they didn't. You know, the hometown kids never lose in their hometowns. That's just AEW's kind of rule. The thing I did like, I kind of like this. But the thing I did like towards the end was that Nick Jackson hit a pair of low blows on Commander and Penta behind the ref's back. They got booed in their hometown, which was like very intriguing. And then he hits a Judas effect, obviously taunting Chris Jericho. And then, of course, the BTE trigger, 1, 2, 3. I gave this a 2.8 out of 5, but the ending was just very, very interesting. I'm not sure what they're going for. I don't know if they're trying to be tweeners, baby faces, heels. Not quite sure. But it's very interesting to think about.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm a 50-50 Young Bucks fan. Like, I'm basically like, I'll ride on the Young Bucks train if I feel like it's worth doing. But when they're heels, they really don't do it for me. They don't give me the heel vibe. The last time the Young Bucks gave me a heel vibe was when they were Generation Me back in TNA. That's the last time. When I see them as heels on AEW, knowing their status and stature on where they're at as far as being EVPs and everything like that, I'm like, I can't do it. Like I can't believe it. I can't be behind it because they don't give me good heel vibes. If I had to pick anybody from the Elite that gives me big heel vibes, and you got to think of everybody in the Elite basically was heels. Hangman was a heel. The Bucks were heels. You know, Kenny was a heel. The only one that gives me good heel vibes is Kenny Omega. Give me a heel Kenny Omega any day. I'll believe it because Kenny Omega can do it. Now, if Kenny and Chris lose on Sunday, we obviously don't see Kenny and Chris together anymore. We can end up seeing the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega doing the Elite thing again. But Cam, refreshing my memory here, I said that my prediction was Kenny Omega turns on Jericho, and we see heel Kenny Omega again. I believe that was my prediction. Okay. The only bad part about that is if he turns on Chris and we get a heel Kenny Omega, that just means we're going to get a heel Young Bucks. and I don't believe it. They got to do something, and I can't pinpoint what it is. They got to do something to make me believe. Right now, they do nothing. The only thing I get the heel vibes from them is being, you know, they give me the spoiled rich kid vibes, basically. Like, oh, I come out my Dior's and my Gucci's and all this stuff. Like, good for you. You're just a spoiled rich kid then.
Right.
That's it. That's all they give me. But Kenny Omega, he gives me the the asshole heel vibe when he's in the ring, when he's on the mic, when he's a heel.
Yeah, I can agree with that. This is the perfect transition into the segment afterwards. We got Bucks and Omega, and they return for this, again, this robotic promo. I don't believe any of this on my screen. I don't know what is going on. Then you had Jericho that popped up, and he's in this this cheap Men in Black suit. He looks like Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction. Like, what is happening? Like, I don't know what we're doing anymore. I not a clue. But again, like I said, you said it before, man. I don't believe any of this. I just it's hard for me to be invested in the Bucks versus Omega. Like, and then you throw Jericho in there, who doesn't have any attachment to any of them other than Omega, and the only attachment he has to Omega was the fact that he had a feud with him in Japan some years ago. So that's it. So I almost feel like it really doesn't matter the outcome of that match, because the Bucks they're still going to find their way back to the tag team titles eventually at some point anyways.
Yeah.
So I really don't think it matters. It's not like they're going to lose this match and then never, ever, ever the rest of their careers be tag team champions again. I don't believe that. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this.
Just remember, Cam, they were just there to talk. They were just there to talk. Just there to talk. That was all they were there for. As Chris Jericho no sells a freaking shot in the back. Like, hey Chris, what the heck? It's like he got hit by a fly. Like, and then we'll just get the fist pumps. Not even hitting each other, just fist pumping. Like, geez, you guys hugging? You guys hugging? Like, that scene right there with Jericho and who was it? Nick Jackson that were going at it. That was almost like they were in like a nightclub doing the whole fist pump thing while like broing it up. Like, basically what we got from it. There was no physicality on that whatsoever. And Jericho looked like he got swatted by a fly. Not him swatting a fly. It looked like he got swatted by a fly, because he just was like, what the heck? What was that? Come on. You've been doing this for 33 years, Chris. I mean, Jesus. But I agree with what you said earlier. I like Chris Jericho. I do. I like Chris Jericho. But I think we're getting to the point where we don't need to see him as much anymore. Like, I wouldn't say he's taking up a spot on a card, because Chris Jericho, he ends up in like the middle of the card or the beginning of the card, to kind of either get the show amped up or help pick the show up if it's on a downside a little bit. But as far as being in the main event status, I think those days are gone. Jericho for a world championship, never happen again. Jericho for a TNT title, maybe. International title, don't want to see him touch it. Tag team titles, if it was the right tag partner that he can help build. Like, we don't need to see him with Kenny Omega holding the tag team titles.
Adam Copeland.
Adam Copeland. Honestly, I'll say this. You're saying Adam Copeland is what, like, Adam Copeland can be tag champs with him?
Absolutely.
See, now I disagree with that. Like, I don't even need to see him be tag champions with Adam Copeland. I want to see him take somebody like a Daniel Garcia and Orange Cassidy. Like, Orange Cassidy's kind of built up there. So backtrack that. Like a Daniel Garcia or a Hook, like one of these young guys that would, use that boost to the benefit to
See
get
now,
them up there a little bit.
I said Adam Copeland for the exact opposite reason you said a young guy. I said Adam Copeland because, again, they're both veterans in the game.
Mm-hmm.
However, I feel like right now, Adam Copeland's in-ring game is better than Jericho's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And Adam Copeland, even a veteran as he is at this stage of his career, can literally carry the heavy burden of bumps and all this stuff like that Jericho cannot. So he would easily carry that tag team, if that makes any sense. Versus if Jericho was in a tag team with Garcia or Guevara or something like that, I feel like the young guy is having to work harder. You know what I'm saying? To carry Jericho, because Jericho would just initially be slowing them down. See what I'm saying? So I feel like Jericho and Adam it just makes sense because they're both veterans and they would both kind of work. When Jericho sees the style that Adam is working, Jericho will be more equipped to kind of match his style. See what I'm saying? So he won't feel the need to try to keep up with the Guevara or Garcia or anything like that. That's kind of what I was getting at with that. So
love you too, Will.
Love you, Will.
So here's my little point on agreeing with your comment about Adam Copeland and Jericho. The difference between Adam Copeland and Jericho is Adam Copeland had surgeries done to help fix the broken bones, the neck, the agonizing injuries, all that stuff. I don't ever believe in any type of history that Jericho has ever had a surgery. If he's had one, then it's new news to me because I've never heard of him. He wants to watch wrestling. Well, then watch wrestling.
I think he's completely hammered, but
oh yeah,
miss you too, Will.
But miss you too, Will. This is great. But that's the thing is I don't believe Jericho's ever had a surgery done. And if he has, then it's new news to me. And, awesome. I got that acknowledgement. So be safe on your way home. Please.
Safe travels, bro.
Please be safe, brother. And I think that's the difference is Copeland had those fixtures. You know what I mean? So he's had time also to rest those agonizing things. Plus, you got to think Adam Copeland came back in WWE in 2020. He didn't work a heavy schedule in WWE. Where Jericho's been working full time for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. He's been working full time. So that could be it too. I can agree with what you said about Adam Copeland and Chris Jericho, but ultimately I feel like one of the young guys would benefit working with Jericho as a tag team champion as well because that boost would be there. So it's almost like that double edge, like I agree with you.
Right.
At the same time, view it how I feel would benefit for a young guy. So I'm not disagreeing with you.
That makes sense. Moving on. We had the Guns. And of course, there was another squash match with the Guns. They have fought some jobbers again. What is this, like the second or third week in a row for the Guns having some sort of squash match?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I was too busy taking notes. I didn't even see the match. I heard the bell ring and then ring again as I'm finishing my notes. So again, you blink and you'd miss it. If you even got up out of your seat for 2 seconds, it'd have been over. So I'm giving this the lowest rating of the night. I'm giving this a 0 out of 5. And the reason why is because I'm just kind of sick of seeing it. And I feel like you don't need to have so many squash matches on a go home show to a pay-per-view. If I'm a new fan of AEW, right? Like if this is the first show I'm ever watching of AEW, and I'm like, you know what? I'll probably check out Full Gear Saturday night. I want to check out. I want to get into some AEW stuff, right? If this is the first show I'm watching, and I'm watching this, and I'm going, yeah, Full Gear's looking like it ain't worth $50. Like, there's no excitement there. If all of this is just these one and done matches, these 5-second matches, so I'm just kind of tired of seeing it. The Guns are better than that. They need real matches. And I get it, squash matches, enhancement matches, whatever you want to call them, are there to, warm them up, make them look good, great. But, and this is kind of this kind of alludes back to what I was saying about why I think Collision is literally the best show, best program that AEW is putting out right now. And that's because Dynamite, I feel like they obviously that's like their flagship, but they kind of center it around, Omega and the Bucks and Don Callis and Collision is completely different. Collision is like the SmackDown of AEW, where it's like we're giving the wrestlers that you usually don't see on Dynamite ever and giving them an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so it's night and day, the Guns you get on Collision compared to the Guns you get on Dynamite. The Guns you get on Dynamite get table scraps like this match. The Guns on Collision get actual banger matches. So that's why I feel like Collision is just better. It's presented better, and the Guns are better than this. They don't need squash matches. They're over that. At least they should be. So, but Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to build off what you just said with the whole like, you did not sell me on Full Gear, and not to one up you, because I would never try to do that to really anybody, but this wouldn't even sold me on the buy-in, especially with the Guns being on the buy-in. Like, would I really want to waste that half hour? No. The only thing that would really catch me and interest me is if the fact is MJF going in alone, or is he going to have a tag partner? That's the only thing I want to find out. That's it. You are not selling me or giving me any indication that the Guns are going to win the Ring of Honor tag team titles on Saturday. Yeah, you gave me the whole like, Max, if this, just think this was 2-on-2. You threw Peter Avalon over the top rope, you did your finisher to the other guy, and that was it. This was not 2-on-2. This was you going in and just trying to make a point. Your point wasn't made. I'm sorry. Your point was not made. You went in, you did something. This was also one of those get to the point type of deals. We got to just do this in order for them to do this. Why have the match? Just have them go out and cut a promo. Use that 5 minutes and have them cut a promo. And what they could have done better too is they could have mixed this in with, and we're going to get into it in a few moments, the MJF segment. They could have blended the two. And then we could have gotten our main event as the match instead of closing out the show the way they did. Or they could have closed it out a totally different way. They could have. Again, I think ahead of time. And I thought ahead of time before the main event match happened right after this gun segment. And if they added in the whole Max segment to this, we could have closed the show out with yet again seeing the Devil Mask standing there. But one better. We could have had the Devil Mask person standing over a laid out MJF in the backstage.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Because what could have happened was you could have had MJF come out, brawl it out with the Guns. The Guns could have taken him out. And then backstage, we could have seen MJF walking around backstage all pissed off. And then after the main event match, we cut to the back. What's going on in the back? We heard something's going on. Hold on, we got a camera backstage. Max laid out yet again, but with the Devil Mask person standing over him.
I like that. I like that a lot. That would have been a banger. I like that ending a whole lot more than what we got. Uh, but the last we get into the last segment before we get into the main event of the evening. Well, I guess the main event and then the MJF promo.
Yep.
But we saw a Wardlow video package. I don't care, bro. This Wardlow video package was badass. Like that was pretty dope. That was pretty sick. And I liked how he was like, I'm gonna make the devil my bitch. And then after that, it faded to black, and then you saw like the devil mask, the guy in the devil mask or whatever. So I'm like, that's crazy. So I feel like he could be next on this, this mystery person's hit list. We could end up seeing Wardlow get attacked next. I don't know. But that would be very interesting because, like I said, we still don't know who this is. It's a very interesting development going on right now. I still think I don't feel like it is MJF, but I still feel like MJF has something to do with it. It's someone he knows. It's someone he's, I don't know, contacted. He has an alliance with, or something to that degree. But that's just my theory. If not, then I'm thinking out of the box here. I'm thinking like it's the first person they attacked was Jay White. So I'm thinking it's David Finlay from New Japan, and we're gonna get Bullet Club Warfare with Bullet Club Black and White and Bullet Club Black and Gold. I don't know. How does that tie into MJF and whatever he's doing? Who knows? But who knows? Maybe here's something that's far-fetched. Maybe the big signee that Tony Khan's talking about, maybe it's David Finlay. Maybe he's doing some sort of joint contract signing. He's still under contract with New Japan as far as I know. And then maybe he's also signing to AEW. And he's just going to be he's going to be in AEW. He's going to be New Japan at the same time. I don't know. That would be something interesting as well. That's, way out there, far-fetched. But Mike, what did you think of this Wardlow video package?
Basically, what I said about the Miro is you got me motivated. You got me excited. I haven't been this excited about Wardlow since Wardlow held the TNT championship for the 100th freaking time. Like, I've been excited about Wardlow since he came out and I noticed the MJF thing on his tape. You intensified that. And again, we are finally getting the big men highlighted. Wardlow. Samoa Joe's even in there as a big man. I know I didn't say Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe. Miro. They got to keep this momentum going with these guys. Keep it going. And I hope the momentum continues with Wardlow. I hope it does. He has a focus on the World Championship. Again, he's in this storyline. Not just Bullet Club Gold. Not just the Kingdom and Roddy. Not just Adam Cole. Wardlow's in there. Samoa Joe's in there. Got me motivated. Excited. The one thing that scares me is the whole tie-in again, and this takes us back to what we talked about earlier in the show. Where does that leave Swerve? We can't leave the thought of him out with the mentioning of the world title.
I don't think this really hurts Swerve in a way because.
But the thing is you have all this motivation and momentum built behind guys like Miro, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Will Hobbs. But your guys that are focused on the world title is Samoa Joe and Wardlow. But then you have Swerve, who's off to the side here, who's also focused on the world title. You don't want to start playing hot potato with your world championship, because you are going to make your world championship irrelevant. And what's going to be sad is you put that world title and you start playing hot potato with your world title, then your focus on your stars are going to go away. You're building that nice motivated focus on your stars right now with Wardlow, Samoa Joe, Swerve, Hobbs. Like, well, let's just say Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Swerve. Okay, you're 3 guys right now that have the focus on the world title. Right now, the closest guys are Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and then Swerve. Sadly enough, Swerve would be third on that list because he's furthest away. Hobbs can jump. I mean, Wardlow can jump that line. Samoa Joe, he jumped that line a long time ago. Now, if you're focused on getting that world title on Samoa Joe, great. Max is out of the picture. Next up, Wardlow. Wardlow and Samoa Joe have history. You're going to build a story around them. But then where does that put Swerve?
I feel like MJ. I feel like these are. I feel like these are side quests just for the sake of. Hey, what's going on, Sean? Thank you for joining the stream. I feel like there's a side quest just for the sake of the MJF storyline that's going on right now. They're trying to make it seem like all these competitors are coming from all these different angles.
Yeah,
and it's that pressure that's going to start getting to MJF. That's what it is, right? So even if the plan is to put the championship on Samoa Joe, he doesn't even necessarily have to have a long reign necessarily. 3 months, 4 months, and then we start building to someone else. I feel like if possible, if we don't have a clear-cut path to how Swerve, and again, depending on how they play out this feud with him and Hangman, if we don't have a clear-cut indication or clear-cut path for Swerve by, say, Revolution, Double or Nothing next year with him in a world title match, then I've lost all hope with them ever putting the world title around Swerve.
How do you feel about this? Let me throw this out here for you. And I want to see if you like this or not. And if you don't like it, by all means say so. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Let's just throw this out there. Right now, the way I look at it, the list goes Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Swerve. Okay? That's the way I look at it. Have Samoa Joe be the one to beat Max for the title. Okay? Okay, we got a comment that promo was hard. Swerve losing his fiance and kids, damn. Yeah, again, it was a hard promo, but honestly, like I said, and I asked Cam this question, Sean. I asked if he even laughed at the stuff that Hangman said. It wasn't funny. He didn't pop me. He wouldn't have popped me any day of the week. I honestly, I've said it. I feel like they have Swerve coming down here right now, and it sucks. Bottom line. But continuing what I'm saying here, let me throw this idea out to you. And again, you don't like it, by all means, say so. It's cool. No hard feelings. I won't be upset. You won't hurt my feelings, anything like that, okay? You get Samoa Joe beat Max for the world title. Okay? Now, next up is Wardlow. Now, Max can get his rematch. Samoa Joe can beat him. We don't need to see Max win the title again. Because we're getting to that point where is Max going to WWE or is he going to AEW? So after Max loses the world title, have Max go away for a little bit. I don't want to see him on social media. I don't want to see him doing interviews. Have him go away like he did when he was away for a while before he came back as the devil. Meanwhile, focus on Samoa Joe. Focus on Samoa Joe. Focus on Wardlow. They have past history. Correct? Build something off of them. Have them have some type of story build up for a couple months. Okay? In the meantime, have Swerve build himself up through the ranks. He's beating former world champions. Hangman's a former world champion. This is where I say I like your idea. Have Mox win the international title. Let's see Swerve and Mox have a feud. Ultimately getting Swerve winning the international championship. have Swerve roll with the international title. And then in about a year, maybe around double or nothing, even Revolution 2025. We can go as soon as February, March of 2025 when Revolution hits. If you want to take it a little deeper, go to Double or Nothing in May of 2025. You keep Swerve relevant with the international title. He can beat Orange Cassidy's reign as champion. And you can build up a thing to where they can do almost like a TNA Impact type of thing with Option C, to where he says, I was the international champion this long. I want to relinquish it for number one contendership to the world title at Double or Nothing 2025. And I'm going to face either A, Samoa Joe, or B, Wardlow. That way you keep Swerve relevant. You can build something with Wardlow and Samoa Joe. We don't have to worry about Swerve going away. He's still in our eyes. He's still highlighted. And he still has the focus and path of going for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
I like it.
Your thoughts?
I like it. I like it a lot. Honestly, I like it. If not doing that, then he would be initially AEW's first dual champion, and he would just be international champion and world champion at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. Honestly, like I said, I think again, I have no idea where this Hangman thing's going. Not a clue. I can only speculate.
See, AEW is in a perfect position. Let's go back to 2013, 2014. TNA, they were kind of on the downslope. We were seeing guys like EC3, Bobby Lashley. Like, we were seeing guys win the world championship that should have been highlighted. The buildup, might I say. And they weren't getting that respected, noticed world title run. AEW is in the position to where they can do what TNA did back in the day when they had guys like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis was a world champion at one point. It wasn't fully even recognized until he went to the NWA and won the NWA world title. But during his time in TNA, he was a TNA world champion, and we really didn't know it or even care. They were taking their guys that were mid-carders and putting them in the world title picture and putting that title on. Penta, Ray Phoenix, world title picture. Mid-card guys. But there was no focus. AEW has the perfect opportunity to take those guys like a Swerve, a Penta, your mid-card guys, and make them highlighted. They are in that perfect position, but they can build off of it, and Swerve can be that guy. Build him up. And he's not out of our eyes. He's not off our ears. And we can see him become world champion in 2025.
Yeah. But next, we spent a lot of time talking about that, but
We have.
conversation.
I'm sorry.
Great conversation though. No, don't feel ashamed. It was a great conversation. But getting back on track here, because we could literally do an entire show talking about Swerve and Hangman.
Oh, we can.
Hell picture. But Omega and Ibushi versus Brian Cage and Takeshita was the next match. This was, I didn't care for this at all, but this was a complete train wreck. You had Paul White beating up on Powerhouse Hobbs in the parking lot. I'm hoping, I'm praying that they're not hinting towards a Paul White and Powerhouse Hobbs feud, because I don't want that. No, not at all. I don't want that at all. I get it. Paul White, he served a purpose because he was like Jericho's heavy after Jericho got his ass whooped by Powerhouse Hobbs some weeks ago. Cool, great. But that should have been like a one-off, attraction kind of thing. I don't think he needs to keep coming back, and now being involved in the storyline and all this other stuff like that. I think they're kind of dragging this out a little bit. Like I said, the entire match for me was complete and utter nonsense. The whole Don Callis, Jericho, and Omega storyline is complete and utter bullshit. Like no one really cares. This is not even you know how I know this is a problem? Because no one on social media is even talking about this. No one like pro wrestling Twitter is not they're not buzzing about this. No, I have yet to hear anybody say anything about, oh man, did you see what Jericho did to Don Callis? Did you see what Don Callis? No one's talking about this. It's the feud is ice cold,
dead in the water.
Why are we doing this? Like I don't understand it. Like I'm baffled by it. And that's why and I go back to my comment earlier. That's why I said I feel like this is taking up a slot to the women's division that has momentum right now for the first time probably ever. Yep. It has momentum right now. They're throwing out names that you don't normally see other than Britt Baker and the typical names that you see. And it's great because you want variety. You don't want to keep seeing the same people over and over and over again. Yep. So that has momentum. That could have been put in this spot. So I'm confused as to where we're going with this. I don't mind the Don Callis family. I think it's great. They have a great crop of talent with Don Callis right now. But move them on to something else. After Full Gear, I pray this is over. Because I don't care anymore. I don't, because I'm every week I have to sit up here on this show and try to make sense of what I saw.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you or Will or any of our guests that's on here. I don't know what to tell the people watching. I'm dumbfounded. I don't know where we're going with this.
I mean,
hopefully this is done.
The Chris Jericho, Don Callis situation is dead in the water. It's gone. It's gone. This is why I have that feeling that we're going to see the Young Bucks. We're going to see Kenny Omega turn on Jericho on Saturday, and we're going to see the end of this. Ultimately, I think what we need to see, if there's going to be anything boost this storyline up a little bit, is we need to see Jericho doing things on his own. For the first time ever in AEW, we need to see Jericho on his own. We don't need the Inner Circle. We don't need the JAS. We don't need Jericho and Kenny Omega. We don't need Jericho and Hornswoggle. We don't need Jericho and James Ellsworth. We don't need Jericho and my dog Summer. We need Jericho standing on his own, fighting the Don Callis family on his own to even have some slight of spark of feeling of importance of this storyline again. Other than that, dead in the water, feel like Jericho's going to get turned on, and that's got to be it. Jericho needs to stand on his own. Needs to. I get it. We talked about it a few minutes ago. Jericho's at the point where he needs that assistance. Being in tag teams benefits him. But he needs to stand on his own in this situation. That's why Kenny Omega needs to be away from him. That's why the Bucks need to beat him and Kenny Omega. To break this tag team up. The fucking Golden Jets. Come on. It sounds like a brand new, airline that I'm going to go, oh, welcome. Thank you for flying the Golden Jet.
That's great.
We're going to give you all your amenities. What do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? Like, come on.
Hey, what's going on, Michael? Thank you for joining the stream, bro.
That's the only way I feel like this Jericho and Don Callis family thing is going to pick up any type of momentum, is Jericho being on his own. That's it. Other than that, be done with it. Get another women's match on Dynamite. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, why are we not?
Agree.
Why did I not see the AEW Women's Champion tonight? Why? Why did I not see Hikaru Shida on the Go Home show to a pay-per-view? I seen Tony Storm in a promo. Why am I not seeing the AEW Women's Champion 3 nights before the pay-per-view?
She's your world champion, and you don't have her on the Go Home show?
But we're gonna have Chris Jericho team up with Paul White and Ibushi and who else was on their team? Fucking Kenny Omega against the Don Callis family.
Nonsense.
By the way, the Young Bucks had a slightly not a squash match, but they had to do a spot fest match a couple of days before the pay-per-view.
Naturally.
what's supposed to be a high profile match on one of your, as AEW likes to say all the time, biggest event of the year. So we'll just slate it as it's their biggest event of the year. We'll just say that. Their biggest
Right.
event of the year. A slighted match. Come on. I'm sorry.
Next, we had now we get into the main event. The actual main event of the evening was a MJF promo. It was a pretty good promo for what it was. I really don't know what to think of it. I mean, it was good for what it was. I didn't like the way that Dynamite just kind of ended. Like, he saw Samoa backstage after he had got attacked. I don't understand why Samoa Joe didn't just come out to help MJF if he's trying to be on MJF's side come Saturday, rather than sitting backstage and you seeing him get beat up by Bullet Club Gold. I didn't understand that part. So, and I just didn't like the way it just kind of ended. The ending that you had come up with would have been so much better than how it just ended. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. But your thoughts on this?
I mean, again, I wish we would have got the ending that I put out there earlier. We could have got MJF, and for those of you who just joined us here, I put out the idea of, after the Guns won their match, have MJF go out, MJF get laid out, and then we see a camera backstage of MJF looking for the Guns after a commercial break. Then we get our main event match. And then after that main event match, which was the Don Callis family against Jericho and Paul White and them, have cameras go back and we see MJF laid out with somebody in the devil mask. Have the devil mask person standing above MJF. That would take away the whole, MJF isn't in the devil mask. Or is he yet? It would still leave that question, whether he is or not. But it would give us that little indication of, okay, maybe the person in the devil mask has no association with MJF and has some type of association to this big signing. They could have boosted that signing. They could have taken a little bit of the heat or whatever off MJF from people, but still have MJF. Obviously, he would compete on Saturday against who he has to compete against. But it would leave that question mark up. And then you would have had something interesting end the show instead of Samoa Joe just staring at a screen looking like, I told you so, Max. Come on.
Yeah.
But I'm just a fan. That's all. You ever hear that saying, crap in one hand, wish in the other, and see which one fills up first? That's basically this situation.
There you go.
That's that. So,
but we will definitely see what is going to happen. Michael Bolden in the chat said the fancy new signing is Hardcore Holly. I haven't heard that name in years. Jesus Christ.
I heard that name back in like August for something. I don't know what it was.
Probably an indie show, I'm sure.
No, I just heard the name come up.
Oh.
I just heard the name come up somewhere. I forget what it was for.
Right.
Oh, it was like the history for the hardcore title or whatever. And the I was talking to somebody about the whole Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view between him and Al Snow when it ended up in the Mississippi River.
That's a good DVD too. I have the DVD of like the history of like the hardcore title. It's a good DVD. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is your show for AEW Dynamite for 11/15/2023. Wait. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to check the date. 11/15/2023. It is midnight now.
11/16.
Right. 11/16/2023. That concludes our show. AEW Full Gear is this Saturday, so we shall see what happens this Saturday. But Mike, if you may, go ahead and plug yourself. Where can we find it?
So I changed up my social medias. I made things a little easier for everybody. So on TikTok, on Instagram, on the X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, on Snapchat, Metal Mike 714. everywhere. Metal Mike 714. I changed it up. I made it easier for everybody to find me. I don't have, one for two different and one for the other two. Everything. Metal Mike 714 all across the socials. Easy way to find me. And then let's start off with the shows. You can find me here every Wednesday night on the Boom with Cam and Will, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after AEW Dynamite. You can catch me every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Prince's Movie Madness. You can catch me every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on Rivet City Red Zone with Johnny H. And then switching gears to Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, following Botch, and Chair Shots, is the Table Spot with Cam and Sean.
Alrighty. My TikTok pages, where you could find me on TikTok, is in the chat right now. But of course, you can find me here every single Wednesday night following AEW Dynamite with me, Metalcore Mike, and of course, my producer, who's normally on the ones and twos, the Will Gray. Again, happy birthday to him. He was not here tonight because of his birthday. So happy birthday to him once again. And of course, you can find me on our sister page every single Friday night with Friday Night Review with Scows and Jamie. And of course, every single Sunday night with the Table Spot with this guy right here and my man, the Alpha Wolf, Sean. I am on Twitter at CamandCheese317. And if that does not sizzle your bacon, you can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam. And that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next Wednesday with another edition of The Boom. And as I always say at the end of every single stream, I love and appreciate every single person that came by the stream tonight. Love, peace, and prosperity. We will see you guys next time. We are out. Boom.
You know it's all about the